like taking a new country off my checklist. This is a wee trip to Prague. I decided to fly to Prague from London as I didn't fancy the walk, and made sure to grab some medicinal tomato juice from the airport bar. Zlakusi was served for my first evening, and provided the first of just one or two beers I enjoyed over the weekend. These helped wash down enough sausage to tile a bathroom, and balance the mustard which had more kick than a donkey.
You cut me real deep just now.
Any self-respecting Scotsman that's given a mix of ingredients and bread is duty-bound to make a sandwich out of it. The mustard would help bind the sausage down, and a garnish of cornichons gave a lovely salty kick, if I could just keep them from rolling off. Now, I wouldn't say the beers here are small, but to be honest, this particular one was pint-sized. Like a cathedral organ, Prague city centre had some exposed pipes to navigate around. I set off on a very enjoyable food tour, where I was the odd one out in an otherwise exclusively American group, led by the excellent Carolina. The first stop was to Locale, perfect for catering literally thousands of pints of beer to the masses daily, and I battered through a plate of delicacies to line my stomach for the day.
Make sure your foundation is set.
The next rung on Prague's culinary ladder was Nasi Miso, a particularly popular butcher's, and I had a, and I quote, juicy AF sausage, and I didn't even realise they did alcoholic ones. The meatloaf gave me inspiration for next week's vid.
Don't tease me.
All of that meat needed washing down, and a glass or two of dry Czech wine did just the trick to slice through all that delicious unctuosity. To mitigate the carbon footprint of the day's menu, Alma was up next, where I ignored conventional wisdom and very much filled up on bread. Whilst I only had veggie food, the restaurant was a classy venue, which ironically would make it a good place to meet. The tour concluded as all good food-based events should, with dessert. Kurkarna Mijats is a classy chandelier-adorned patisserie, and provided me with enough treats to both boost my energy reserves, while simultaneously sending me into a sugar coma. This is a statue of King Wenceslas from old Carol fame, though the Scot in me feels like he's missing something. I hit up the Korean barbecue equivalent of a pub at Beer Point, where the power, and by that I mean the labour and inefficient beer pouring technique, was in the customer's hands. After more downs than an NFL game, I set off for the spa. Welcome to the Hotel Carolina.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
I was guided to what I can only describe as a spa dungeon, where I spent an hour smoking and bubbling hops, and helping myself to as much beer as my stomach could carry, without making tomorrow morning Mike hate his past decisions. Like a nervous striker taking a penalty, there was plenty of foam in this beer. I got a wee goodie bag after a massage to send me on my way, and there was even a bathroom by the exit, in case you wanted a pee ending.
Matron!
A short stumble later, and I was in the live music venue number 1 of the trip. A walking tour kicked off day 3, and this structure is called the Powder Tower, as it used to store gunpowder, though I was disappointed to learn the Czechs decided to keep their chowder in bowls. Prague was very proud of its astronomically large clock, definitely something worth chucking on the Tinder profile. Strangely, they also had a little skeleton tugging at the bell end every hour. You need to be careful of untoward tour scammers out there.
Is it too late to back out now?
While I knew there wouldn't be any chance to cook anything, I still took this pan to the Charles Bridge. A place for a quiet walk, the Charles Bridge is not, as it was positively flooded with tourists, he says as if he wasn't part of the problem. Though it wasn't as flooded as badly as the banks of the Vltava were back in 2002, according to some markings on a nearby wall. The walking tour finished at the Lenin Wall, which used to be clean. Can you imagine? Some people find water sports entertaining, but I would be paddle bored with the whole thing. Pre-dinner pint and pubble would whet my appetite, as I sank a couple more quickly than the Titanic. Egypt, which the Michelin Guide calls an unpretentious modern interpretation of a traditional inn, was the next venue, and like a dame manning a customer complaints line, the meal started with a wine. The beef tartare had truffle shavings, which rather pleasantly were not overpowering, so unlike this phrase, they didn't repeat on me. I said, so unlike this phrase, they didn't repeat on me. The sandwich habit did kick back in, though I was literally given a bread roll, so it would have been genuinely rude not to.
That's what you're supposed to do.
This lamb-loaded dumpling was the star of the show. I would describe in complex terms the depth of flavour and comforting warmth of the dish, but I've misplaced my thesaurus. But I can tell you that it was very good. This was as close as I got to Prague Castle, as I prioritised other things, like visiting the best jazz bar in town, which for a modest fee let me listen in on their jam session. Apparently the peanut butter one was last week. Pints downed and beats syncopated. It was time to head back to the hotel, then enjoy the morning view. Breakfast comprised of what I can only describe as a Czech jabby dodger. I had brunch on my mind, and the route involved going through this spooky old tunnel, which reminded me of the London Underground, except that it had no trains and I had to walk the full length of the bloody thing. I took a breather in a local park until I realised my appetite was fully up and running again. Eska Bakery was the place to stop that in its tracks. I was full of daring and imagination, so went for the very first thing on the menu.
It was like crazy.
I dispatched Eska's take on eggs royale, like I was running a delicious taxi firm, which was followed somewhat bizarrely by a panna cotta. I couldn't help myself but check the price of beer in the supermarket.
So cheap.
I then met this pooch. I thought I had an attitude, but it turned out to be a good boy. A stop off at the inaptly named energy bar for a pint made me think a Monday afternoon maybe wasn't the best time to seek out some buzzing vibes. Prague airport lacks any decent watering hole and required an absolute MacGyvering to charge my devices. I just hoped they managed to refuel the plane more efficiently. On the plane I got a wee bonus to finish the holiday, by way of having an empty seat beside me, and plenty of room to wiggle my toes if I fancy playing this little piggy with myself. All in all, Prague's a great shout for a short city break, though I didn't see much wildlife, even though I was pre-warned about all the stags, with a bird's eye view of the country. I would conclude that you should definitely think about checking it out.
Put you in jail. Right away. No trial, no nothing.
And to finish, seeing as there's nothing you can do to stop me now, it's true what they say. Nothing beats a check to holiday.
Darling, hold my hand.
And there you have it. Stick that in your face.